Whatever they want. Look at this. So left leg, left. Straight here. Straight in the back. One more to the left. Thank you very much. Here. I'm not in the movie, but whatever they want. Look at this. So left leg, left. Straight here. Straight in the back. One more to the left. Thank you very much. Here. I'm not in the movie, but whatever they want. Look at this. So left leg, left. Straight here. Straight in the back. One more to the left. Thank you very much. Here. I'm not in the movie, but whatever they want. Look at this. So left leg, left. Straight here. Straight in the back. One more to the left. Thank you very much. Here. I'm not in the movie, but whatever they want. Look at this. So left leg, left. Straight here. Straight in the back. One more to the left. Thank you very much. Here. I'm not in the movie, but whatever they want. Look at this. So left leg, left. Straight here. Straight in the back. One more to the left. Thank you very much. Here. I'm not in the movie, but whatever they want. Look at this. So left leg, left. Straight here. Straight in the back. One more to the left. Well, I do some TV and radio in New York, and I do a national TV show, and I've been talking about this movie for 6 months, and I screamed and yelled January 2nd how I somehow didn't get a ticket to the premiere in New York. So Tim saw it, he's a big sports fan, he saw it put it on his Instagram, and the next day, last week, did you know he called Searchlight and gave me 2 tickets to choose London, Paris, or Rome. So I brought my daughter, and I decided to come to London for a couple days. Oh, yeah. That's how I got here. It's quite an honor. Quite an honor. For a 65-year-old sports talk show host in America, that's quite an honor.
Wow.
Well, I didn't know that much about him prior to that, but he first off, he spent so much time on the part. He learned the harmonica, the guitar, knew all the little. With Dylan, it's tricky because he's a very weird, he's a different, quirky guy, and so to get all those quirky things down. Because if you don't, you're going to get killed because the New York media in America is going to say, well, this is not Bob Dylan. And he pulled it off. That tells you brilliance. He did a brilliant job. Yeah, he put his own spin on it. And not just him. Norton's great as Seeger. Have you seen the movie yet?
I haven't. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, Seeger's great as Norton. Monica Barbaro's great as Baez. I mean, everybody in this movie did a tremendous, the performances were superb. Everybody did a great job. The first thing I would do is, you got to go to his second album, which came out in the early 60s. That's Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. Blowing in the Wind is on that album. Girls from the North Country is on that album. A lot of huge Dylan songs. You have to remember, Dylan for Americans, he represented the early 1960s. He didn't want that, but he represented civil rights, Kennedy's assassination, all those things that were the whole changing of the guard in America from the 50s to the 60s. He represented that generation. And that album kind of did that. And then in 65 he did Bring Everything Back Home, which is sort of a combination of acoustic and rock. Those 2 are the 2 albums from Dylan. I wish, how's that, I wish. He is a great sports fan, and he grew up in New York. Now he's about 40 years younger than me, so you have to keep that in mind. But listen, I love sports, and I do sports and he loves sports. I love the movies and he does movies. So if that combination works, listen, it's much more important to me than it would be to him, but I would not turn down any kind of invite to have a supper with Timothée Chalamet. I saw it the day after Christmas. I've seen it 3 times. I saw it the day after Christmas. I was on this movie for the last 6 months. You know what he did in this movie? He made people happy. You know, I had tears last scene. When you see it, if you see it, when you see it, him going back to see Woody Guthrie, tears. And he pulled it off, and he made people happy. And in this day and age, that is hard to do. So he gets credit for that. Impossible. Make you feel happy for a couple of hours. Nothing wrong. 2 hours and 20 minutes, you enjoy it. You escape the world. That's the idea of the movie.
It feels excellent. You know, the Joker and the Thief in this song.
Yeah?
Albert is supposedly the thief. How are you, Bob? Yeah, so I think that's really cool. I'm so excited to be here. Look at Ed Norton. Albert Grossman. Albert Grossman is Bob Dylan's wild manager. You can actually see him in some of the documentaries, and he's got this incredible hair. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of him, but a man with that kind of hair, he's got to have enormous testicles, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was so fun to play Albert. Yeah, I basically, my job was easy. Albert was in the midst of all of this talent. And so I just walk on set, you know, there's Ed and there's Timmy and Jim directing. It's like I wasn't really acting. I was just being me in awe of this talent, you know. And so I just put that into Albert, and I think you can see that awe in my face in the film, you know. From day one, he was just in full character, and he wasn't like call me Bob or anything. He was a sweetheart, really. He was like. He's a great quarterback, as they say. Number 1 on the list. Any movie where Timmy is number 1 on the list, it would be a pleasure to do that movie. Yeah, he didn't let it get to his head, but he was full on in it, man. I mean, like singing, over and over and over and over and over again. And I just got to sit down, like I said, and just watch in awe. Like, oh my God, he's doing it. Like, he's really doing it. Day one. And I think it shows. I think he's gotten a lot of great attention. And I think that, I think he'll hopefully go all the way with this. You know, he's in character. The first time I'm on set is a scene where he's singing, "Where have you been, my blue-eyed son?" over and over and over again. And I'm supposed to whisper into Ed's ear, "This is it, the moment, it's happening. You know, folk music, it's happening." And I guess Timmy's here. And so that was my first time on set. And I remember I'm in a lot of suits. And I love the suits. But it was hot, so I would have to go and get some air, and I would go out, and there would be Timmy there, you know, and sitting in his chair doing the same thing. And it wasn't he wasn't like, "Get out of here," and he could have totally been like that, but he was so inviting. He was like, "Come on, man, the air's for everybody," you know. It was like, what a sweetheart. And he didn't have to do that, and he really he was able to balance everything really nice. I love it. I mean, I'm on set and fan of his, Copland, and Walk the Line and Logan, and it's like, okay, we are in good hands. Like Walk the Line is one of my favorite films ever. And I'd never been on set with a director who just like had such a complete vision.
Yeah, we were nervous.
And he had all the puzzle pieces in his pockets, you know. So here we are, we're shooting in April, in June, and now suddenly we're here. And, you know, and it's award season. I've never been in such a machine like that, and it's just impressive just to see. Wow, we're like he's only shooting this 6 months ago, you know. And usually in films it takes a little while. You know, it takes a year or two to come out, but here we are. We're on the fast track, and that was impressive to see it come to fruition. I mean, I was introduced through Jimi Hendrix, who was singing like a Rolling Stone. And so that's a good start. Rolling Stone, that song the lyrics are it's just poetry, and it's inspiring for all artists. You listen to that song and you're like, yeah, I am out here and I am doing it and I'm making it happen, and it's kind of like an anthem for us. So I would start with that one.
I loved this time. I loved the music at this time. I was very immersed in it. I moved to Greenwich Village. I used to go to a restaurant that's in Pete Seeger's old house. When I was 21, 22, I used to go there after I'd see Downtown Theater, and the characters in this film are all people that were very mythological to me. Banjo is hard. There's no two ways about it. I played guitar a long time, so that helped, but the banjo frustrated me, and it frustrates everybody. You talk to people. Pete Seeger was a virtuoso. He was like I was thinking about calling Steve Martin and asking if he would just stick his hands under my armpits and do it for me, because he's the only actor I know who really plays it well.
In a way?
No, the whole thing was a joy. I mean, I'm being funny, but the musical component of this was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. I don't expect to have that opportunity to sink into music that I love like that very often. Sometimes I think there aren't a lot of people who have the chemistry to fit within someone that distinctive, and I think he did it brilliantly, not as caricature or imitation, but really kind of digging into his deep contrarian and nature, and to the passionate conviction he had in following his own line. You know, I think Timothy, I don't even want to say too much about it, but it's a truly titanic performance. It's wonderful. I mean, you can go into so many, but way beyond this film. Blood on the Tracks is my favorite album. But even, you know, Time Out of Mind, the songs he wrote for Ang Lee's movie, you know, I mean, he's got so many great pieces. I think the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan and Blood on the Tracks is where I would tell people to start. Yeah. I think it's a wonderful experience of real immersion in a time in American life that was very, very fertile and very intense, and because the music's great.
I mean, she's so open in so many of her memoirs and documentaries. Like, she wasn't withholding information about herself, and so I felt like I had a lot to work with already, but there was just that final piece that I felt like I just needed to speak with her, and I felt like it was a very Joan thing to do, to reach out and, you know, be bold enough to try. And she was just so generous to give me her time, and yeah, I'm forever grateful to her for that. Yeah, yes, and very intimidating, and I mean, I was excited to speak to her, and also just wanted to pay all due respect. And, yeah, it was crazy. Of what I sang? Oh man, I mean, I love her rendition of House of the Rising Sun, and I love Farewell Angelina. The lyrics of that song are just devastating. Don't Think Twice. I mean, it's a whole movie about him writing because he's a brilliant lyricist. So, you know, it's hard to choose. Timothy's incredible. I admired his work so much before I was ever a part of this film, and so,
ladies and gentlemen, Fogler joins me now.
So getting to work with him on this film was just, I mean, it was a dream, and getting to collaborate musically together, I mean, that just was phenomenal. So I'm very proud of him in this film, and Ed and Boyd and Elle is incredible, and we're all just like, I don't know, I'm just happy for everybody. I'm proud of everybody.
A tremendous artist, Bob Dylan, someone I look up to hugely. Someone who was as impactful in the United Kingdom as he was in the United States, and somebody who was a dream to play, dream to learn his worldview. And it's something I hope, you know, I'm excited to see young faces like myself in the crowd, you know, because I want this to be a bridge to this kind of music, you know. So very happy for everyone here, and I'm happy this movie's finally coming out in the UK. James is an actor's director, you know. I hope you see it in A Complete Unknown. You definitely see it in Girl Interrupted. And yeah, I was hoping that was going to happen. Logan, you know, Walk the Line, Indiana Jones. So he's a master. Oh yeah, I can rip a harmonica now.
You are crying out for someone to turn up with a harmonica or a guitar.
I'm ready for it.
Go for it.
Oh, the best. We had the most talented cast, and for those that haven't seen the movie yet, Elle Fanning and Monica and Edward and Boyd, they're incredible. We actually got an incredible cast. This isn't like movie PR bullshit. Like, we worked our asses off on this. This movie's well worth it. It's easy to talk about because Bob Dylan's easy to talk about, and the movie, I don't want to be overconfident, but we really did our job. It would feel totally strange to work on someone's life who's alive and well if they didn't want you to work on it. So a big thank you to the tremendous artist that is Bob Dylan, and I hope we did him justice. You know,
you absolutely did.
Yeah.